My guest today is an important member of the popular metalcore band Atreyu. Please welcome Travis Miguel. Hey Travis, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
All right. First, I'm very fine, and I'm curious. Do you remember when you decided to play guitar, and when it happened? Who and what introduced you to it and inspired you?
I started on guitar. I think I was I started, I think, taking actual lessons when I was about 12 or 13. Um, and it was right about the time that I was discovering music and taking a liking to music. Um, one of the first bands that I ever latched onto was Metallica.
Okay.
Um, and obviously when I was 12 or 13, I didn't have the skill to play a Metallica song, but I kind of just kept with it and started playing in bands when I was a teenager, and then one thing led to another, and I joined Atreyu, and I haven't looked back since.
Tell me, at your point of view, how and why Atreyu became a popular band?
Honestly, I don't know. When we first started touring, obviously nobody knew who we were, and we were playing to a lot of empty rooms. Sometimes it was just the bartender and the other bands that were playing. That was our audience. But momentum. We started to gain momentum after a while, and I mean, I was definitely kind of taken aback. I was somewhat shocked as to how popular we got, because I never really saw that like ever happening. I mean, I figured we'd record an album, go out on tour a couple times, and then that would be it. But as we started touring more and more, the tours themselves got bigger and bigger, and if we'd roll through a certain town, there'd maybe 50 people there. And then the next time we would roll through, there'd be 150, and then so on and so on and so on. So, I mean, as far as to why that happened, I couldn't tell you. It's kind of one of those things where I try not to overthink it. And, it's, if something that good is happening, I kind of just, all right, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to think about it too much. I just want to let it do what it's going to do. So, but I mean, either way, I'm, very, 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 very grateful.
It's not a one song thing, but if you have to choose maybe one song that you can say, oh yeah, it's the debut of something. Do you have one song in head?
Oh man. I think probably Right Side of the Bed, which is off of our second album called The Curse. I mean, that album was a huge album for us because that was a entry point for a lot of people when they discovered Atreyu, specifically that song, because that was the first single and video off that record. So I think a lot of people discovered us through that song. So as tired as I am of playing that song live, I really can't complain when I do, because I mean that album and song pretty much launched us into our career, really.
Can you tell us why the band and its former singer Alex Baptize decide to go their separated ways and decide to move away?
Sometimes change just needs to happen in bands, and change is very, very scary, whether it's good or bad, because you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, we went our separate ways, and we've just been, moving forward. We don't tend to look behind us too much. We're always striving to just keep keep moving forward, because we know that we're extremely lucky to be in the position that we're in. We're extremely fortunate to be doing this, especially for as long as we've been doing it. So, yeah, it's, we're just moving forward, like I said.
Why did you choose Brennan Saller as a new frontman of Atreyu? To be the vocalist, and he do all now. He scream, he sing, is the front man. So why did you decide to let go of his position on drum and do all the song with his voice?
Well, I think first and foremost, Brandon is one hell of a singer.
Yeah.
So it just kind of made sense. We didn't, as far, when a band loses their front man, it can go either really good or it can go really bad. And historically, it kind of tends to be the latter of the two. There's only a handful of bands who have changed frontman, who have, gone on to like bigger and better things, for example, like AC/DC, when Brian Johnson joined the band, it almost seems like they just got bigger. But for us, we just didn't want to, we still wanted a familiar voice. Obviously, we didn't want to bring in a complete stranger. So he moved up to the frontman position, and we got our buddy Kyle Rosa to man the drum kit now. And ironically enough, we've had this lineup before. We did a European tour in 2019, and Alex unfortunately had a really bad back injury, and he couldn't. The doctors advised him to not sit on an airplane for 11, 12 hours to go to Europe and play 3 weeks worth of shows and then fly back. It just couldn't happen. So we had to scramble and figure out what to do. And because we weren't going to cancel the tour, because it was, there's such a short window of time for us to figure something out. So we just had Brandon move up to the front position, and we had our now drummer, Kyle Rosa, filling in on drums. So it was kind of like a trial run, and we didn't even know it. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Do you consider it to change the name band or not with this change?
No, we've always, the thought of even, or the entertaining the thought of even changing the name never crossed our minds.
All right. Why did you choose the name Baptize for the new album?
It just kind of seems like a bit of a rebirth for us. That word rebirth or being reborn kind of has been
kind of like a fresh new start.
Right. Yeah. It's, it's a new decade. It's a new album. So yeah, it's definitely very much like a fresh start for us, or like a new chapter in our career.
What is the reception for the fans at this point? Okay, like everything's changed. We have some guys that said, "Oh, it's not like in the time." Sometimes you have guys, "Oh, wow, it's spectacular! It's something new. It's fresh." What did you heard about the fans, the reaction for this album?
Me personally, I tend to stay away from reading reviews, or I stay away from the comment sections, because me just being the somewhat negative, pessimistic person I am, I tend to hone in on all the negative stuff. So it definitely behooves me to block all that out and not pay attention to it. But from what I have seen, there's been a lot of positive reaction. People have been really digging these songs. So yeah, it just feels good to have it out in the world now for people to listen to. And if, obviously if people love it, that's awesome. If people aren't into it, perfectly fine too. We're just going to keep doing what we do.
Now it's time to sell your music. In what way does the new sound of Atreyu is better than the former? And would you call this somewhat of a musical revolution amongst all band members?
Um, I mean, we've been doing this now for over 20 years, and and when we started, we were all really young, and I think our songwriting skills and our musicianship was very not rudimentary, but you could tell that we were young, and over the years, we grew as people and as human beings, and we became men while we've been in this band. And the songwriting matures, it grows. We try different things now. We always have tried different things, but it's almost like now it's kind of like there's no idea that's too weird. We'll throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks, no matter how weird or crazy it might be. And overall, the songwriting, like I said, it's much more mature now. It's we have more colors to paint with, so to speak, instead of just playing sick mosh parts and brutal breakdowns, which we'll always do. I mean, we'll always have that aspect in our music because we love that stuff. But I think just overall, like I said, our musicianship and songwriting skills have just grown and grown.
Wow, really nice answer. Which song is your favorite of the new album, and why?
That's tough because
it's like to choose a child or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. And I've been asked this question quite a few times over the past few weeks, and my answer always changes. But I think as of right now, probably the song. It's a song called "Weed." It's just kind of it's a very short, simple, and to the point song, but it has it's kind of got everything, everything that you would expect from Atreyu, big soaring choruses. I have a guitar solo in it that I really love. And, like the main verse riff is just a simple single string guitar thing. So sometimes less is more, but so, yeah, as of right now, at this very second, it's the song "Weed." If you ask me an hour from now, my answer will probably change.
Just to close, since your beginning with Atreyu, what made you the most proud?
I think the fact that we've been doing this for as long as we have, and people still seem to care. That's a big thing for me. When you first start out in a band, you're stumbling your way through it, but you're striving for, like world dominance, which we still do to an extent. But I mean, just the fact that we've been here for as long as we have, and we still get to do this at the level we are at is very cool. I think any band, they can strive for money or accolade or awards or popularity. But for me personally, now that I'm a bit older, I think just longevity is what's the most important for me anyway. All the other stuff would be nice too. Like I wouldn't mind having some extra money or some awards to put above my fireplace, but for the most part, it's just longevity. Like if you told me 20 something years ago that I'd still be doing this, I probably would have thought you were crazy, but yeah, here we are. I mean, we just released an album about a week and a half ago, and everything's looking good. And, we're still, obviously 2020 was a bit of a shit show. And we seem to be getting, making our way out of that whole mess. And, we have a tour booked now in the fall, and things are looking up. So, and the fact that I still very much look forward to playing live and touring. Usually when guys get to my age, they kind of they want to wind down and maybe not tour as much, or they just don't want to do it at all anymore. But all five of us are still super excited. And, you know, like I said, I have to pinch myself sometimes and be like, wow, I still get to do this. You know, it's almost like I'm going to wake up from this dream and I have to go back to work or something.
Now it's time to back up in Canada and especially in Quebec to make the real fresh new start Baptize of Atreyu.
Exactly. Yeah. It's been a while since we've been up there, and we definitely can't wait to get back up there.